This shit is a joke. You know damn well that if the United Nations isn't investigating China, that this is one of the biggest jokes of all time. They have an agenda to follow. I don't know if you folks have looked up the carbon dioxide emissions around Wuhan last year. They burn bodies outside of the city. China also has a firewall along with government workers. They have total control of their news networks. Whatever China wants to be known will be known, and vice versa. Yet, the United States continues to play into their hands. Fucking bullshit. If you folks don't know already, Australia earlier this year attempted to send a team to conduct an independent investigation regarding the origin of the virus. China didn't like that, and that's when they imposed economic sanctions on Australia. Most of this country has their heads so far up their asses, when in hell will all of you wake up? Our media has been doing the same thing, and that's what I've been getting at. Bill Cooper wasn't killed for tax evasion, he was killed for getting the truth out there. If you don't know who Bill Cooper is, educate yourself. Good evening, you're on the air.
Tonight, NBC News confirms a US intelligence report says 3 researchers at a Wuhan lab fell ill and even went to the hospital right before the coronavirus pandemic began. There's been growing speculation the virus escaped from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, but an earlier joint study by the WHO in China controversially dismissed claims the virus may have leaked from that lab. But back in March, a member of that team told us some lab researchers were ill.
Did some researchers get sick with flu-like symptoms in the fall of 2019?
There were occasional illness because that's normal. There was nothing that stood out.
Do you remember how many researchers?
Maybe 1 or 2. It's certainly not a big thing.
In February, a Western intelligence official told NBC News the US has substantial intelligence.
This is CNN Breaking News.
This is Wolf Blitzer reporting breaking news. Just a few minutes ago, the United Nations has issued a resolution to China. This resolution requires the Chinese Communist Party to comply with World Health Organization inspectors. The inspectors will be conducting an investigation to find where the virus came from. This resolution was passed despite China threatening an invasion of the Taiwanese island if such thing were to occur. We will continue to bring you the latest news and information on this topic.
At a time when nations across the globe are busy fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, China has been exerting military pressure on Taiwan.
Just after China sent a fleet of fighter jets perilously close to Taiwan's airspace last week,
中国海军舰艇在台湾沿海的存在显著增加。这些舰只发射了几枚 DF-16短程导弹。这些导弹的目标是军事和民用目标，如桃园国际机场。你在这个区域附近寻找掩护。预计在这些导弹袭击之后，将进行2期登陆。
The presence of Chinese naval vessels along the coast of Taiwan has increased significantly. These ships fired several DF-16 short-range missiles. The targets of these missiles are military and civilian targets, such as Dawei International Airport. You are near this area. Look for cover. It is expected that after these missile attacks, an amphibious landing will take place.
Yesterday, Chinese forces occupied Taipei. With that being said, Taiwan is now in exile, and most of their government has fled the country. There was a radio broadcast that was found, and it's now being called the last free broadcast of Taiwan. Listen to this.
你好，你能听到我们说话吗？我们正在广播。
Hello, can you hear us? We are broadcasting the last Taiwanese radio communication. Today, Chinese forces entered Taipei. We send brotherly greetings for Taiwanese soldiers still fighting at Taipei, along with American, Australian, and Japanese troops fighting regardless of the place. Taiwan is not yet lost. Long live Taiwan.
missile strike has been detected. There are 2 missiles headed in the direction of the Commonwealth. The targets are unknown as of now, but it is confirmed that these missiles have nuclear warheads. Satellite images have confirmed that these missiles were in fact launched from the People's Republic of China. These missiles are expected to hit the Commonwealth within the next 5 minutes. Seek immediate shelter. Normal programming has been halted indefinitely. Seek immediate shelter. Normal programming has been halted indefinitely. Seek immediate shelter. Normal programming has been halted indefinitely. Seek immediate shelter. Normal programming has been halted indefinitely. Update. American ship-fired missiles have intercepted one of the intercontinental ballistic missiles launched by the People's Republic of China. The other remaining missile is still a threat to the well-being of Australia. If you are outside, get to fallout shelter fast. If you can't...
In the case of 3-month-old Olivia, Waldo, you...
The following message is being transmitted at the request of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The state of Hawaii is now under a mandatory evacuation order. The electromagnetic pulse attack earlier this week has resulted in the wipeout of the Pacific Fleet. A Chinese invasion of Hawaii is imminent. The People's Republic of China has gained naval superiority over the Pacific Ocean. As a precautionary measure, the state will initiate a scorched earth policy to prevent the People's Republic of China from using Hawaii as a forward operating base. Evacuate now. Failure to do so will put your life in extreme danger.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We interrupt our programming. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow. This is an emergency action notification. All broadcast stations and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is KABC. We will continue to serve the Los Angeles area. If you are not in this local area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. You are listening to the emergency alert system serving the Los Angeles area. Do not use your telephone. The telephone lines should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated. We interrupt our programming at the request of the White House. This is the emergency alert system. All normal programming has been discontinued during this emergency. This is KABC. The station will continue furnishing news, official information and instructions for the Los Angeles area. If you are not in the Los Angeles area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your area. It is important that you listen carefully to announcements from the station in your local area.
Stand by. The President of the United States will be speaking on all stations shortly. Stand by. The President of the United States will be speaking on all stations shortly.
My fellow Americans, this is truly a dark time for our nation. This is Joe Biden speaking from the Oval Office. For the first time since the Civil War, the United States of America, on its own soil, will be fighting a war at approximately 11 o'clock Pacific time. Cities along the west coast have started to report naval bombardment. Chinese military forces began invading the western United States. Chinese troops have been spotted in these cities. In California, Crescent City, Eureka, San Francisco, Oakland, Long Beach, Santa Maria, and San Diego. In Oregon, Gold Beach, Brookings, Bandon, Florence, Newport, and Seaside. In Washington, Westport, North Cove, and Ocean Beach. American forces are doing the best they can to repel this invasion. I want civilians in the previous mentioned areas to follow these orders. Be prepared to defend yourselves. If you are confronted by Chinese forces, do not submit to their orders. It has been confirmed that they are going door to door, taking the lives of anyone they come across. If you are limited on ammunition, and you are about to be overrun by Chinese forces, save the last bullet for yourself. It's better to die a painless and quick death than succumb to their brutal methods of execution.
That was a message from the President of the United States. All normal programming has been suspended indefinitely.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Fresno is under siege, and action is recommended to be taken. The traffic in your area is reported as follows. Line Whiskey, 50 personnel. Line X-Ray, 10 columns of mechanized infantry. Line Yankee, 27, Bravo Tango Romeos, 525639er. Line Zulu, Chinese paratroopers. Line Alpha, 2073, Zulu. Line Echo, QPC 95s and RPGs. This area's brigade combat team has been depleted 90% of access, and is currently undergoing a broken arrow. A broken arrow is a code phrase that a ground unit is facing imminent destruction from enemy attack, and all available air forces within range are to provide air support immediately. All citizens receiving this alert are required to shelter in place. As a precaution, prepare a kit of food, water, medical supplies, and a battery-powered or hand-cranked radio for your stay in your shelter. Make sure this will last you up to 14 days. Do not leave your shelter unless it is absolutely necessary to do so. If your area is breached by Chinese forces, be prepared to defend yourself. They are going door to door, executing civilians. If you are limited on ammunition and you're about to be overrun, save the last bullet for yourself.